Now, in Sudan, warring military factions have agreed to a 5-day extension of a ceasefire agreement. But once again, there were fresh doubts about the truce, given there are renewed heavy clashes and airstrikes in parts of the capital, Khartoum. Saudi Arabia and the United States, which brokered a week-long ceasefire deal, announced the extension shortly before it was due to expire on Monday evening. Now, having said all that, the ceasefire in Sudan did lead to some respite from the fighting in Khartoum. But that wasn't the case in the western region of Darfur, where entire villages have been burnt to the ground and communications with the outside world have been mostly cut off. The region has a long history of inter-communal violence, and it seems to have plunged into chaos once again. Our correspondent Barbara Plett Usher has looked into this underreported area of the conflict with the BBC Verify team.
You've heard about the battle for Khartoum. I'm going to tell you about the battle for Darfur. It's seen some of the bloodiest fighting, most of it around the cities of El Geneina and Nyala. Let's start by looking at El Geneina, because that's been the hotspot. This is before the war, and this is in late April after a first flare-up of violence. Then there was a second wave of violence in mid-May. Markets were destroyed, health services looted, hundreds of people killed. Aid workers who had to flee say it's been pretty much a scorched earth approach to civilian infrastructure.
It's not anymore a military place as we can saw in Khartoum at the beginning. It's more like health facilities, school, mosque, NGO place. Everything that civilian can use had been burned or destroyed.
Nyala is Darfur's largest city, and part of the main market there has also been destroyed. A resident has confirmed that this is video of the Nyala market. It's a huge loss because it supplies the region and some neighboring countries. And we managed to get this message from a local journalist.
The RSF stormed the city with dozens of pickup trucks mounted with guns. NGO offices and shops were looted. Most of the pharmacies were looted. All the residential areas in Nyala have been completely sealed off by barricades and digging ditches, so the militias can't enter the residential districts.
So who is doing all this burning and looting and killing? Residents in the area say that in Nyala, it's the RSF, or the Rapid Support Forces, which does have its roots in Darfur. But take a look at these fighters on the rampage in El Geneina. You can see that they're not wearing uniforms. The RSF leader has called for calm. In El Geneina especially, the lines are blurred. There are different community militias, including fighters from Arab tribes called the Janjaweed, and that's the base from which the RSF was formed. 20 years ago in Darfur, the Janjaweed were mobilized to crush a rebellion by non-Arab tribes. The current battles have reignited those communal tensions. A war of all against all, multiple groups fighting one another, could spread to other regions in Sudan and beyond because of ethnic ties across borders.
An intensified conflict in Darfur has the potential to inflame conflict in Libya, in Chad, in Central African Republic, and in South Sudan, and even further across into the West African Sahel.
Refugees from Darfur have been streaming into neighboring Chad. They're fleeing not only a power struggle between two generals, but the prospect of another civil war.
That was part of our new BBC Verify launch there with Barbara and her team.